Good morning, and thank you for coming. I'm Andy Bauer, coordinator of the Connecticut Energy Network. Our goal at this event is to unpack the electric bill, shine a light on the combined public benefits, and see what does what. Our bills are too high. All agree on that. But Senate Bill 647, an act concerning protections for consumer access to affordable energy, will not help. Eliminating the combined public benefits, the one part of the electric bill that delivers relief to the other three, will not help. We understand the anger over high energy prices. We live there. We have for years, some of us decades, because it's beyond frustrating to continually have to push for energy efficiency and the switch to clean, cheaper renewables. Had we done this 20 years ago, we probably would not be here today. The Connecticut Energy Network volunteers long ago put our anger to good use and have worked tirelessly in our communities to promote programs which lower energy costs, improve air quality, and address climate change. We're also okay with the jobs, businesses, and economic boosts the green sector brings. It's clear that there is enormous pressure on elected officials to act, but make no mistake, if we want meaningful progress on reducing bills or any of the desirables just mentioned, 647 is not riding to the rescue. In fact, it's a big step backwards. On to the bill unpacking. Every winter we hear a story about somebody forced into that awful choice of either paying for food or paying for heat. But we rarely hear about the system benefits charge, which funds the programs that help people in need, and until recently enjoyed overwhelmingly bipartisan support. Operation Fuel is just one of those programs. It's in every legislator's district and provides fuel to those constituents whose tanks are running dry. This winter, that means 8,000 homes and over 15,000 people, more than half of whom are the very old or the very young. Our next speaker is an energy justice organizer with Clean Water Action, who will help us remember what it's like when programs like these weren't around. I'd like to ask Sherrod Blizzard to come up. Thank you, Sherrod.
Thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for providing me with this opportunity to speak. I was at a forum a couple of weekends ago talking to low-income residents in Waterbury about some of the benefits that are available to them to help them with their electric bills. I shared a story from my youth. Back when I was in high school, 1997, I'm working at McDonald's. I decide I want to spend my entire summer saving up to purchase myself a vehicle. Back then, there were these publications that would get circulated with all the cars that were available in the area. It wasn't internet back then. And with my $5.25 an hour wage, I decided I'm going to spend my entire summer saving up the $1,000 I needed to purchase that car. It was an '85 Honda Accord. So I'm working near full-time. They wouldn't let me go above 40 hours because I wasn't 18. And I'm flipping burgers, I'm changing over fries, and I'm letting my mother know of my progress as I'm saving up $200, $400, $600. I'm like, Mom, I'm doing it. I'm not buying video games. I'm actually saving the money. And as we get toward the end of summer, she's like, Sherrod, I got a shut-off notice. I need $800 or they're going to turn our power off. And the thing that struck me as I told this story to this group of people was there was no shocked looks. There were no long faces. There were just heads going up and down like this. Either they understand it from the parent side or the kid side or both. Having to be a parent and look at your child who, you're supposed to protect and provide for and have to ask them for help. And my mother had to do that. And as her child, and I love her, decided to help. And I only wish that there were benefits like this available back then, so maybe she didn't have to look me in the eye and ask me to make that choice. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Sherrod. The system benefits have taken flack way out of proportion to the increases in our bills. Last summer's searing high temps, record humidity, and the millstone deal, the extra charge, are responsible for the massive spike. The system benefits bump was tiny in comparison. Regardless, here's a quick recap of how that bump is already being addressed. COVID kept people on the ropes for a while. Unpaid bills piled up, and in July of last year, they came due. Our next speaker is going to help put that in context, so I'd like to ask Ryan Bailing of New England Smart Energy to come up. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you. So I want to pick up on a couple themes that Sherrod touched on because I've seen many similar stories working in the HES and HES-IE programs. And when we've done our job, tightening up a home, educating a homeowner, and walk out with them already saving money and living more comfortably, well, that's a good feeling, and it's a great example of the immediate benefit that these services can provide. The good news is that while Sherrod and I are working to get folks out of these predicaments, the utilities, PURA, and the Office of Consumer Counsel started asking the big question: how do we improve customers' ability to pay their utility bills before they fall behind? Now, I read the docket. I'm not an expert, but here's the plan as I understand it. First, letting people know about the low-income discount rate. For anyone not familiar, as the name suggests, the low-income discount rate is a reduced utility rate provided to lower-income ratepayers. A lot of seniors or other people living on fixed incomes can take advantage of this, and if this goes away, those folks will be hurting. The program has established a monthly usage cap, so it cannot be abused, which is very fair. And it has also been restructured to automatically enroll folks heading towards financial hardship. So that is an additional cost, but remember, hardship can mean uncollectible debt, which is an even larger cost. So this is more efficient, and it's something that can be vital to people living paycheck to paycheck. If your only interest is cost, understand these things. A home with uncollectible debt means a bill that is entirely paid by ratepayers. Move that family to a low-income discount rate, and they start paying what they can. If back payments have accrued, there is a mechanism to pay that off. It might take time, but it will happen. So in that sense, it's not a handout, it's really a loan. Again, I've seen, and my crews see every day, the benefit of a family having one less thing to worry about, and this is just another way to get it done. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. And I just want to repeat that, your final thought. It's not a handout, it's a loan. It's helping people get back on their feet. If funding for these programs is moved to the General Assembly, I would respectfully remind co-sponsors of 647 that our budget has a cap, that competition puts these vital programs at risk. That's not a step forward, it's a step back. As Sherrod and Ryan indicated, we all benefit when homes are lifted out of hardship. We're all in this together, and sometimes the shoe's on the other foot. Consider, recent storms made a mess down in Fairfield, in excess of $10 million. Do other Connecticut towns turn their backs? No, we're all in this together. 647 also eliminates funding for the Connecticut Green Bank. This is the entity that has attracted a 7-fold return on its investment. Even if I knew nothing about the Green Bank, that statistic alone would strike me as good. But I have worked with the Green Bank over the years, and their programs have caused my neighbors and my town of Portland to collectively save over $1 million, and the state to realize almost $500 million of lifetime public health value created. The Green Bank started the solar program in Connecticut and nurtured it through some growing pains. Now there are several dozen solar companies with thousands of employees, which boosts our state's economy. That's vision. The Green Bank has been copied by other states. It's won awards. There is serious cash looking to be invested in Connecticut green sectors. SB 647 would tell that cash to go someplace else. Eliminating funding for the Connecticut Green Bank is not a step forward, it's a step back. 647 also eliminates funding for energy efficiency. The logic is hard to follow. Efficiency is the core principle to saving energy, money, everything. Sherrod and Ryan are both from the home energy solutions business. They know. The numbers are impressive. In the past 2 years, over 110,000 houses saw their energy bills drop and realized a collective $48 million in savings. The Energy Efficiency Board has annual reports. I just checked. My neighbors in Portland have racked up over $700,000 in lifetime savings. So between that and the Green Bank, I'd like to give a quick call out to my Senator Norm Needleman and my Representative Christy Carpino. Safeguard these programs, please, because eliminating funding for energy efficiency is not a step forward, it's a step back. And these programs are good for our health. Dr. Mark Mitchell of the Connecticut Equity and Environmental Justice Advisory Council has been working on this for so long he makes me look like a newcomer. Dr. Mitchell?
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Andy, for talking about my age. I'm Dr. Mark Mitchell. I co-chair the Connecticut Equity and Environmental Justice Advisory Council. I'm a public health physician as well as an environmental health physician. And I want to say that these programs that are proposed to be eliminated by SB 647, there are dozens of programs that help everyday people in Connecticut, but they're particularly targeted toward low-income people who cannot afford to pay their bills. Loss of electricity and utilities is a major cause of homelessness. And so it's not just, and people, it's not like they're living in luxury if they and having other people pay for their bills. They're worried about their bills, and there are many bills that sometimes people can't pay. This provides a help, a discount on the bills, and a help to repay the bills. And this is good not only because of the economics of it, but also because of the health. People of color and low-income people are more likely to live near infrastructure for natural gas or electricity in the electric power plants. And they're more likely to have to be exposed to the pollution from those facilities. If you live near pipelines, if you live near stations, power plant stations, you are more likely to have asthma. You're more likely to have be exposed to chemicals that cause cancer. You're more likely to be exposed to chemicals that cause low birth weight. You're more likely to be exposed to chemicals that cause ADHD and autism. If we can move toward clean electricity, then we can reduce these illnesses immediately. The effect for the climate may be decades out, but the effect for health, the benefits for health are immediate. So those who are, we know, for example, that over 1 million African Americans live within a half a mile of natural gas infrastructure and suffer the asthma effects because of that. Again, if we can move away from that, and these programs that are funded through the combined public benefits charge help us to move away from that. And the cheapest type of electricity that we can have is the electricity that we don't use. So energy efficiency can reduce rates, particularly for low-income people who tend to live in substandard housing and put plastic over their windows during the wintertime to keep the cold air out because they cannot afford their utility bills to crank the heat up to 75 or 70 or 80. These programs help protect those who need it the most, and that's why they must continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mitchell. And a surprise special guest, Terry Eichel of the Interreligious Eco-Justice Network Terry's been doing this a long time as well, and she's going to speak to, I think, the heart and soul that we put into these programs.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Where's Father Mike? My name is Terry Eichel. I'm the Executive Director for the Interreligious Eco-Justice Network. We're a faith-based environmental group in Connecticut, and we work with religious communities on environmental issues like climate change, toxic pollution, and biodiversity loss. And I'm joined up here today by Father Mike from St. Patrick's St. Anthony in Hartford and Pastor Jean Fritz from Flanders Baptist in East Lyme. Over just the past couple years, 2 years, hundreds of congregations in Connecticut have benefited from these energy efficiency and clean energy programs. They've done lighting projects and insulation. They've installed heat pumps and heat pump water heaters. They've installed solar. They put it on their congregational rooftops, their parsonages, even ground mounts in their parking lots. They have been able to reduce their energy costs, which has provided them with more resources and funding to help the communities in their area. And they haven't just stopped at their buildings either. They have helped their members and the members of their outlying communities sign up for energy efficiency and clean energy programs as well. As Dr. Mark Mitchell just said, the cheapest and the cleanest energy is what we don't use. And these programs have helped and are helping religious communities save energy, but it's not just about the cost savings. Every faith tradition talks about the importance of caring for the planet and its inhabitants and of using the resources wisely. People of faith feel very strongly that we have a moral and ethical and theological calling to protect the environment and help others, and these programs help us do that. Eliminating these programs will actively harm houses of worship that are seeking to reduce their energy use, that are seeking to reduce their energy costs, and are seeking to switch to clean energy. When so many in our communities rely on houses of worship, we should not be passing a law that makes their work more difficult. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Terry. All right, last one, folks. 647 also eliminates funding for conservation and load management. Bad move, because this is how we avoid power outages. Here's how it works. Our daily electricity use is at its highest in late afternoon. It's called peak demand. Peak demand is when we are closest to a power outage. Demand response acts like a safety valve. That's a conservation and load management mechanism. It lowers peak demand. Demand response costs money, but power outages cost exponentially more. The top of that peak, the very top, the 1%, because our grid is straining to produce it, that alone costs us 8% of our bill. I'll say that again. The top 1% of usage is 8% of what we pay. Anything that lowers peak demand saves everybody money. If one of your neighbors has an EV and does managed charging, if another has gone solar, if a third has done any kind of energy efficiency, they've lowered your bill. They've lowered your bill by lowering peak demand. In closing, We need to step forward on the system benefits because we're all in this together. We need to step forward on demand response because it protects our grid and saves money. We need to step forward on energy efficiency because it reduces emissions and saves money. We need to step forward on clean energy because of public health and saving money. Collectively, these programs have stepped forward to create hundreds of businesses, thousands of jobs, millions in economic growth, and billions in public health value. We should be stepping forward on all these, but SB 647 is a big step back. Thank you, and thank you, everybody, for coming. I'm happy to try to answer any questions. Yeah. Okay, so for those folks who don't know, the hearing about this bill is happening, I think, in about 10 minutes in room 1D in the Energy and Technology Committee. I believe the deadline to testify in person has passed. However, you can still sign up to offer testimony. You can make your thoughts known. You can contact your legislators. And since we're here right now, may I suggest, go look up your legislature, find them, find their office, speak to a legislative aide. They have pieces of paper. You can drop a note. Ask for their email, you can send them that. Ask for their number, you can call them. But they really need to know about 647. Legislators have a lot on their plate, a lot. They may not be aware of everything that has been covered in this press conference. Please go and seek them out and ask them to oppose this bill. Thank you, Lori, for the reminder. Yeah. Lori wants everyone to go to the hearing, which is a good idea. Just go and show support. If you want to bring your signs, that would be wonderful. Great. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.